Well, maybe it's time for a little bit of positivity in a state that's normally mostly sober. I decided to go shopping today. It's a pretty day out, and I skipped last week for obvious reasons. But, you know, our schedule would have been that I would have gone last week. I'm not sure that we would have, because honestly, didn't need a lot. But went today, and it was surprisingly easier than I expected. I mean, I was kind of dreading going shopping. It has been the thing that the one sort of regular period of time where my wife and I would spend more than, you know, maybe 40 minutes, an hour together on any given day. You know, it would be once every 2 weeks or whatever. And I knew that, you know, I don't mind walks on my own. I love walks on my own, to tell you the truth. Sometimes they're very, very good. Sometimes they're not so great, you know, especially if I chafe or something. But in this case, there was a lot of fear that, you know, this tedious task, this thing that I hated when I was in Eugene the first time. And, you know, since I got my cart in Phoenix, the first one, it became easier, but it was still sort of a thing that wasn't my favorite thing in the world, and I'm sure it still won't be. But and I followed our same normal route and everything, and carried my cart and all that. And actually, the biggest negative was I always would have her carry the empty cart, and I would pull the full cart back. And honestly, pulling the empty cart, you know, on my own was not depressing, but it was causing my arms to ache in a way that I just wasn't used to. I was used to being free on the way down, and she was always used to being free on the way up, and thought that was so much easier. And I see why. It's a heavy cart, even empty. It has to be able to haul the amount of stuff that it was able to haul. But strangely, I found that at least there were a lot of things that made life easier to go on my own, you know, and that was something that I just wouldn't do. I would go shopping without her, but I'd just backpack it or whatever and grab a few things. Although, honestly, this sucker almost carries what I need. I bought that because I didn't think I could pull the cart up the hill, and the first time I tried pulling the cart up the hill with very little stuff in it was very, very difficult, but I took the wrong road, and I found a better road since then. But yeah, I mean, that thing is supposed to carry 200 pounds or whatever, and I've had it stuffed with heavy stuff and everything. And it's hard to carry. It's very physically taxing compared to the cart, except that there was such a steep road that I normally took when I first moved into here that I physically almost could not pull the cart up the road. And it was just, yeah, it was like, this is going to kill me doing this. And the backpack I could do. But I switched routes and supermarkets because I couldn't go to the other supermarket. It doesn't carry the food I need. It's the market of no choice. Basically, everything there is more expensive, significantly more expensive. It's kind of probably like a Trader Joe's or something like that. It's got a heavy emphasis on organic and specialty type stuff and everything. But, you know, and I like some of that specialty stuff, but I'm not going to live off that. And for the regular stuff, the markup is at least 50%. So it's like going to a convenience store or something. And it's still a 25-minute walk away, uphill both ways, in the snow. But since the pandemic hit, I've become more reliant on that place. You know, grabbing. There were weeks where I was too sick to want to go. There were times when we just got, you know, when the illness was hitting me the worst, I got into the habit of doing that a little bit, and now I've gotten kind of lazy about, well, if it's a rainy day, we'll skip our normal shopping and maybe run down there or whatever. And I'm kind of addicted to that, and probably will use that place as a supplement, the way normal people use the convenience store as such. You know, I mean, I'll pick up enough stuff to get us through the week, or whatever, a couple things of pasta, some sweets or something. Plus, it's hard to haul ice cream in the summer, although ice cream is more than twice the normal price there. Only because supermarkets always have ice cream on sale. Like some brand or another that's decent is on sale, and it's half their normal price, and this place never is on sale and has that markup on everything, so it doesn't work. Anyway, what did we... so the walk was actually faster getting down there, it felt like. I stopped more and whatever, but I mean mentally faster. I think the total amount of time I spent shopping was less, but not that much less. And the walk, I probably actually took longer on the walk down than we normally would, because whenever I light my pipe or whatever, I would have my hands free, just have a cup of tea or whatever that I could poke under my arm. But it also meant that I didn't have to carry my Bubba cup that I bought so that I could go shopping. I took one of my paper cups, which is great because I could really use actually discarding some of those without replenishing them, which has been a real problem. Is like the only time I brought them with me was for walks to the bar. And I invariably, because the walk was so long home, would buy myself a cup of coffee on the way back, and I'd get another cup for hot liquid. So I was never actually running through my huge stockpile of paper cups. Yeah, don't judge me, man. I hoard weird things. But yeah, it wasn't that painful to head there, especially once I got off the hill. I felt pretty comfortable just walking. You know, it was a pretty day. Saw a couple of squirrels where it was like, you know, I spoke to that remnant of her that's still kicking around near me, and pointed things out, and really the reaction isn't that much worse. I still have the ability to point it out to something, and okay, you know, maybe I don't get the reaction, maybe I curse instead or something, but it's okay. And then when I got to the supermarket, the first thing I realized was, shit, I don't need all that much, but I bought what I needed, and there were some things on my list that I could not get at the other store. I don't usually the only things I put on a list are the things that I never need, whereas she would always put everything on the list. So I had a really short list, and it was only the stuff that I had put on it, which was pretty fucking helpful, actually. That's actually a sign that she was going to do this. There were a couple. One was that she didn't add anything to the grocery list over what was, you know, a week and a half from the last time we went shopping. Another was that the last time we went shopping, she bought like 1 bottle of hair conditioner. Now, usually she would buy between 2 and 4. I don't know how she went through so much. She had very long hair, but she also would wash her hair more than a couple times a week and condition it and all kind of stuff. And but when I noted that, was like, wow, there's only one bottle of conditioner. Her reaction was, well, I'm washing my hair less now. That may be true because she actually had some spare conditioner left. This I mean, it's so funny what she would go through in a week, well, 2 weeks, would take me like 4 or 5 months to go through. Especially with conditioner, maybe even longer. I barely use this stuff. I wash my hair, once a week if I'm lucky. When I was dancing, it was pretty damn consistent once a week, but I didn't always condition it right after after I wash it. But let's see. So the actual shopping was fairly quick because I don't know why. Because I didn't have a lot to get. Because what I get is kind of patterned, and I didn't have whatever distractions she would bring to me, like. And there weren't any discussions about, well, do we want this, do we want that, or anything like that. I could just go in and get the stuff I needed. But also my cart was incredibly light. I ended up spending, I actually, when I realized how light my cart was going to be, I bought myself a 6-pack of beer, which I haven't done since Phoenix. I haven't been buying anything. Well, that may not be entirely true. When we first moved here and we were close to a supermarket, I was still, I think, buying some wine a little bit, but not much. But yeah, in Phoenix, I would almost always buy some kind of alcohol. Either some beer, which was very rare, a bottle of wine, which was pretty much once a month, once every 6 weeks, somewhere around that. Or, a bottle of real booze, like a bottle of vodka or something, because you could buy stuff there. And whenever there was, a good sale on alcohol, quite often they would discontinue something and I'd be like, oh, I'll get that. But I was also drinking a fair amount of vodka there and brandy. I don't know how much, but, I would say... at least every other week I was buying something, even though I was buying maybe a bottle of wine every 6 weeks, fit that in with buying other stuff, because I had my magic milkshakes, and I would do vodka martinis, and in the winter I would do my brandy, whatever. And she was drinking too, not heavily back then, but whenever she needed to go face the world for something, like if she had to do stuff for immigration or anything like that, she would take some alcohol. That was her way of coping with having to go out and be around people. She'd originally been on these little drops that were anxiety reducing things, but they were prescription and from back when she was in Europe, and I don't know, there was no attempt to do that. But it was very, very easy to get everything. To get in and out, and then I packed my little wheelie cart, and it was less than half of what I normally buy. Now again, I had a fair amount of stuff left over. I don't know, I have a lot of food packed away and everything for even just the two of us, and now it's just me, and so it's even more overage. And then but also there was just, I think the majority of stuff, at least involved her. So if we're picking out dinner type stuff, if I'm picking stuff to cook or whatever, well, it was taking her into account. Even if she wouldn't eat all of it, her share of what I actually cook. If I was picking out, we did meals every night. That's not something I'm doing anymore in the same way. I'm probably eating less. Because of that, not tremendously less. Nobody needs to worry about me starving myself, for God's sake. If I choose to stop eating, it will be complete. You know, it won't be like, oh, I'm only going to eat a cup of noodles every day. No, I just will stop eating for a couple weeks. But the problem with that, of course, is that I've progressed, and at this point, I think I have to do without water. And that'll kill me. So, and then the walk home was remarkably easy. The cart didn't feel like it was anything more than the cart itself, to tell you the truth. I kind of made the point in my own head as I was walking back that going up the hill at one point, or one of the hills, that I felt kind of like Bob Cratchit without Tiny Tim. But I felt kind of good about it, you know. And honestly, for the amount that we talked and everything in that period, while it was nice to have someone around, probably my internal monologue kept me company more than she did. Which is, again, different from other people that I'd been with in my life. In a way, you know, I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to be sad and lonely. I've been sad my whole life, and probably lonely most of it too. I will be a little lonelier without her, but I don't know. You know, I was pretty fucking lonely with her too. So, just in the sense of like, we didn't tend to do enough things together to justify. It was just the being able to run down and say, there's a squirrel, you know, or the little bits that we could play. Yeah. So, also, because the cart was lighter, I felt better pulling it up the hill. I felt more energized. It wasn't like, you know, when I'm pulling that full cart with 2 people's worth of groceries for 2 weeks or more, I felt like it was really not only straining my body, but that, you know, I was so out of shape and everything, and I am. But pulling it light, it felt like almost nothing, you know. And while I still had to take my rests, and I had to drink some mocha on the way back. I bought myself a carton of mocha. I also felt much more energized. It was closer to just being out for a walk than, you know, being a cart horse, basically. So anyway, I figured I'd give you guys a snapshot of what's the not so negative, and you know, you see so much of me where I'm like stabbing at the pain and poking at it, but you know, watch where I'm playing Blood Royale or whatever. I'm not that fucking different, and in some ways there may be good things that come of this. I don't know. We shall see. Cheers.